Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Check out our podcast below in the description. Pop.
All right, another day, another week, another chance to watch Justin Herbert. 28 of 42, 326, 2 touchdowns, no picks, took a couple of sacks. Now for the season, Herbert has upped his overall stat number, 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Is that right? No. Is he?
I
now
thought
17?
he had 15 coming in. I think he's at 17.
So they don't update. 17 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's over 67% completion, and through 2, you know how there's interception worthy passes, through 2
intercept balls,
touchdown worthy passes at the end of the game. Credit to the Raiders for breaking it up. But
off the top of my head, I don't remember any interceptable balls. I don't remember many balls like hitting the. Now the Raiders aren't exactly the early 90s Cowboys on defense or anything, but it just I thought he was really good again today. And today is a type game where you just go, every Raider fan had to be on the edge of their seat on that final drive. Like, is this fucking kid going to have a walk-off touchdown?
Yeah.
Because once they got past like the 40 and they started moving it, you're like, he's going to score. I have, I wouldn't say unlimited confidence, because probably beside like Russell Wilson, I wouldn't have that in any quarterback. Like, I am prepared for a bad play, even watching like Drew Brees or Tom Brady. But for a rookie quarterback, I can't remember thinking like, yeah, he's going to get it done. Like when Gruden kind of pushed out and kicked the field goal, now he'd probably tell you he didn't want a field goal to beat him. He was up to whatever.
And
we had just talked about
kicker is.
Yeah, but we had just talked about this like less than a month ago.
The money badger.
Oh, yes, the money badger. That they had done it against Tampa, and boom, Brady went right down. It was a different point in the game, but he put the ball back in the hands of one of the better rookie quarterbacks we've seen in the last decade. I'm being serious. Like, besides
one
Luck,
of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Definitely one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But if you think of the last like decade, rookie seasons, and not like fake Baker Mayfield against just nobodies, I remember Luck being outstanding and playing like legitimate winning football. Now, this guy isn't winning, but everyone, even if you're a hater, like, it's about winning. Like, it ain't his fault. I mean, his coach is calling stupid-ass timeouts. I mean, they're calling fades, which I think you and I hate, and most football fans are like, I can live with a fade, but back-to-back fades with the game on the line, that never works. But even if you're calling, he's hitting the guy in the fucking hands. In the hands. Mike Williams, who is this, generation's Jeremy Maclin, every time he hits the ground, you think he's dead. Then he goes NBA style, I'm good, I'll jog off. The problem is when you do that, you can't. It's like, hey, Mike, we would like you on the field for this final play. You're, I don't know, one of our best players, and we're on offense trying to win a game, passing the ball, buddy. He threw it to the guy, the dude that dropped it at the end. Third string quarter. How do you run that play to your third string tight end?
I hate it. I give him credit because it's a touch pass in a pressure spot, and he nailed it both times. I hate both those plays. I hate wasting calling a timeout because you want to see if they're going to review a play, but you wait 20 seconds to see if they're going to review a fourth down before you call the timeout.
The timeout use on the final like minute of the game.
Brutal. So then when they get down into the red zone with like 15 seconds left, and inexplicably the receiver's not out of bounds, they burn another 8 seconds trying to get up there and clock the ball. So that sucked. But, I mean, to me, John, it's not that they don't win. It's that they lose every game by a possession. 4-point loss, 1-point loss, 3-point loss in overtime, 7-point loss, 5-point loss, 3-point loss in overtime.
It's different quarterback, the same outcomes with Phillip. I mean, the same games. I enjoy watching this more.
Different coach, but it's all the same.
It's all
different
the same.
Stadium, different city. It's different uniforms.
Insane.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
He can break the spell though.
Well, it's pretty clear. Anthony Lynn's in big trouble. Did they even mention him on the broadcast? Maybe Joe Davis, like, Anthony Lynn on the hot seat. Like, I swear I heard that. Now I
didn't catch that.
Yeah, this job has to be one of the better jobs in recent memory, because we talk about sometimes when a job opens, like, I had the number 1 pick and we got Andrew Luck in the draft, or this year when the Jets fire Gase and Trevor Lawrence in the draft. there is a lot of hope with these young quarterbacks. But for as great as Luck was, can't miss, he still is going to be a rookie quarterback. You just never know. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence might look exactly like Andrew Luck looked as a rookie. Somehow the Jets win 9 games next year. I would doubt that, but people will tell themselves that in their head. I know with Justin Herbert, every game he's playing, the Bucks, the opponent's irrelevant. He looks fucking sweet. I don't know what the PFF rankings are. You can't tell me he's got to be a top 10 quarterback right now in the NFL based on his usage, right?
Yeah.
And just like,
did you see that stat they had, that pressure stat they had during the game?
No.
He's thrown for the most yards against pressure in the league this year. And it was interesting because they made a point like, yeah, Anthony Lynn told us, basically they're talking about how much the Chargers trust him against the blitz. Like, yeah, he just knows what to do. Like, he doesn't get rattled.
And he can kind of scramble away from it.
And he can scramble, and he's really good at reading it and making the throw. And he obviously can his arm is fantastic.
He's like a Carson Wentz talent, but he's just much more under control.
Well, it's totally under control.
And he's way more accurate down the ball. Yeah, way different personality.
Did you feel like when you were scouting that if they told you a guy had a 4.3 GPA, that told you anything about how he, like, did that, like, would you say flip a coin that translates, or does that translate more than it doesn't translate?
Well, the only guys you'd ever hear that about would be offensive linemen and quarterbacks. Like, no one, your wide receivers never have 4.3 GPA. Maybe a kicker or punter, but you judge them separately. I don't judge an offensive lineman or a quarterback having a good GPA. Kaepernick had a 4.0 GPA. Like, news for you, most quarterbacks are smart. Like, their school comes pretty easy to them, right? I mean, I would imagine.
Yeah, but this guy's like won the Campbell Award, right?
No,
like
but I bet if you got the average GPA for a lot of the NFL quarterbacks, their GPA is like in the high threes, like 3.2 to 3.8. Now this is extremely high,
and it's like a biology major. He wasn't doing like
to
history.
Me, where I bet he brought up some red flags is the Mariota thing with the personality. They were parallel to each other, and
right.
It didn't work for Marcus. But like you always said, Marcus failed not because of his personality, because of his talent. And this guy's talent, I saw, like, I flipped on the broadcast pregame show. It was like Terry, Terry
on Saturday.
Yeah.
Which day?
No,
which Terry?
Terry and Howie were good. Yeah, I enjoyed them on the college
on
one.
Saturday.
But
yeah,
today,
had fun.
it was Strahan, Howie, Terry, and Tony, and Terry and Tony were like, people make such a big deal about like his personality. Do you know what personality works in any locker room? When the dude's a badass player. Everyone like, you know what? You can be an asshole. People like you. You can be a great guy. People like, you know who people don't like? The dudes that are scrubs and making you lose every week.
By the way, how many rah-rah guys are full of shit? Like, the thing with Herbert from a personality standpoint is he's not likable. It's just he's not a loud rah-rah guy. But they had they had a shot of him on the sideline. Like, he was just kind of sitting there for a second. And they came off the field. Something came up. Somebody was talking, and he was clearly very invested in the conversation.
When you watch Raiders Chargers today, who was the best player in the field? Probably Keenan Allen, but
Cleveland Furrow played well.
He plays well against Chargers.
Oh, is that?
But it's a small list, right? It'd be like Josh Jacobs, Justin Herbert, Carr had some moments, Keenan Allen. Like every time I watch the Chargers play, I go, if he's not the best player in the field, he's in the 2 or 3 short list, right?
Yeah.
Would most Raider fans right now trade their quarterback for him?
I think
and
most
Derek
teams
was good
would
today.
trade their quarterbacks for him.
In a heartbeat.
Who wouldn't trade their quarterback for him right now?
Mahomes, Russell.
Probably the Bills.
Gutekunst would, but he's like.
But you can't. I mean, just like right now, you wouldn't do that, right?
I'd say the Bills like Josh Allen a lot.
The Jets would do it. The Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, the best quarterback to ever play in offensive lineman cleats.
He's fantastic.
To
me, what's
anyway,
great,
most teams would.
He wasn't as accurate last year. He's really accurate. Now, some of the quote-unquote touch balls, part of it is the NFL guy. Unless you're like Drew Brees or Tom Brady, a lot of good quarterbacks miss the passes you and me were kind of bullshitting about before we hit record that he missed today, right? Like, he did hit like guys in the end zone in the hand stuff. Like, those are just really hard. You got to be perfectly precise. Like, Peyton Manning makes that play, Brady makes that play, but like even like good players. Deshaun Watts, I'm thinking of guys that are like, top 10 quarterbacks. Missed that pass. Like I don't hold that much against him. Some of his quote unquote like tough misses.
Errant, yeah. Look,
The touch, he's just got to learn to throw the changeup, but the changeup accurately.
He's 67% 8 yards per completion. Last year in college, he was 67% 8 yards per completion. He's actually a few percentage points higher in the NFL this year than in college.
I think the biggest compliment I could give him, every time he unloads on a ball 30 plus, like where the camera just shows the ball in the air, I think it's going to be completed.
Yeah.
I am pleasantly
That's the opposite
surprised.
of the way we feel when we see the Garoppolo deep ball.
Oh yeah,
I'm not even being snarky.
Yeah.
That's just
I don't even think
it's when Russ throws it up, you go, oh, this is how open is DK going to be?
He's the best example. When Russ does it, I think it's going. When this guy lets it rip, he had a play early in the game. It might have been the first drive where the Guyton guy that he's connecting with all the time, he overthrew him. I was surprised. I was like, whoa, he missed him. And he later in the game, he hit a couple deep balls, kind of once he got in rhythm. And it was just when he let it rip, he was hitting guys. Yeah. And then just that ball over the middle, I think one thing that helps, and I wonder if like Keenan was sitting here having a beer with me and you, he's like, Keenan Allen does all of his work right, short and intermediate, over the middle of the field. The faster you can get him the ball, the more you allow him to kind of work because he really is kind of like he's got jukes and moves. He's not outrunning people. Rivers, the ball comes a little slower. He's throwing these BBs, so Keenan has a couple steps to get you 5 or 6 more yards. Think how many more just productive yards they have with now him over Phillip Rivers. The speed in which the balls get there.
100%. The help is getting there later to Keenan. And I also think Herbert probably, it feels like he's comfortable in the pocket in part because, like you said earlier, he's athletic and because he can throw the ball so effectively, I'm doing air quotes, off platform, right? He does not have to be set to make a throw. In his mind, he can backpedal, make a weird move, step the wrong way, and still unload the ball. He doesn't have to decide to throw. To me, he looks like he can decide to throw as late as anybody in the league can decide to throw and still make a long, strong throw because his arm's so strong.
When I watch him, I don't think he's got bad fundamentals, though. Right? Sometimes
no, I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying I think he can wait until the last second.
One thing I think they could do, they picked up the 5th-year option on Mike Williams, who's going to make like $15 million this offseason. I would think about maybe trading him and just drafting another guy because it's pretty clear Herbert's going to make guys look really good. And Mike Williams could probably net you either a good offensive lineman back or maybe a good draft pick and kind of go that route. Because, listen, Mike's really talented, but that might be an asset. You build around Keenan. You got these running backs are easy to find. Hunter Henry, you keep him, and you get rid of Mike, and maybe you draft a guy in the second or third round.
I would get him another big guy.
Well, that would be the push. Then why would we get rid of Mike Williams? But
he's cheaper, and because Mike is,
and Mike ain't gonna be cheap, right?
Yeah,
someone will overpay Mike. So, I would trade Mike Williams this offseason.
Dolphins Chargers.
When Joe Brady's my coach.
Dolphins Chargers. That's sweet. I would love. I don't know what I haven't looked at the rest of the slate. I'd love to see Romo in that game though.
You're saying Dolphins Chargers this week?
Yeah, November 15th at Miami.
This is a pretty good week of football.